everyone, I'm Emma, a certified dog trainer.
And I'm Kirsten, a certified dog behavior consultant.
And this is Dog Chats. Join us as we chat about dog behavior, having fun with your dogs, and building relationships. We will offer practical advice and a bit of humor. Hi everybody, welcome to episode 3. In this episode we're going to be talking about camping and traveling with dogs.
Emma, why do you love camping with your dogs?
I love, some people wouldn't say that I'm actually camping. I'm more like glamping.
Yes.
Because it's a travel trailer, or in Ireland we called it a caravan. I absolutely love it. It reminds me of my childhood. So my aunt had a caravan and we used to all go, all the cousins together. We used to hang out for the summer. But one of the reasons why we got our travel trailer now is that we had a dog named Chance who was a little bit afraid of the world. He came to us that way. And we tried hotels, and hotels were kind of difficult for him because he could hear the sounds in the other rooms and people moving up and down the hallway. And it really frightened him. And we ended up getting a travel trailer for him and for us.
Excellent.
So that the inside would always be the same and the environment outside would be the only thing that changed. We love it. It's a great way to get out in nature and have fun with your dog. So
Slow
that's
things down.
You're going camping this weekend and it's bringing you a little anxiety, and tell us a little bit about that so we can all work through it together.
Excellent. So I love camping. I've always loved camping. But all 4 of my current dogs, they might love camping, but they change my camping experience because I have to meet their needs while we're camping. So I'm hoping you're going to give me some advice about how to build a little grit. The 2 that I'm bringing of my 4 are the most social dogs of the 4, and I think they're going to have to stretch a little bit. Yeah.
So let's start by the therapy session.
Okay, good.
Let's start about, what are you concerned about? What is causing your anxiety?
Okay, if I'm going to be honest,
Yeah.
I'm Kirsten and I don't have perfect dogs. But it's hard to be a dog trainer and have dogs who, quote, misbehave, bark and lunge at other people and dogs if they're feeling unsafe. So that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about being out there in public and getting the stink eye.
Getting the stink eye, right? In saying that, then let's think about how we can set up ourselves for success when we go camping.
Okay, this is what I need.
And this is whether you're in a trailer, in a tent, whatever way you're doing.
Yeah, because usually I'm in my trailer. That's part of this.
And you have that space then that they can go into.
Trailer, though.
So a tent is a little different, right? So we want to think about how we can set up ourselves for success. And always we think about management first.
Yeah.
Right? X-pens, exercise pens, are a great way to create little boundaries for our dogs. And I know you're thinking about that. You were thinking about outside the tent a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I'm going to bring 2 X-pens because the other thing is, as we're camping with other families with dogs, some of the dogs at the campground will be off leash. And it's happened to us before where off leash dogs run towards my dogs. I think I need to just keep them in the pen if I'm not supervising them. So they're safe.
And that's great. We do that in the trailer as well. We just create, it's almost like a little boundary. Because you never know with kids, they'll run right through your camping ground space, and you just want to have a block so that the dogs don't get startled by somebody running through. So it's a nice little area to kind of give yourself a boundary.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. And even though most campgrounds say keep your dogs on leash, we know what happens.
Yep.
Some people pop their dogs off leash and they're running towards you, and what can you do? So that's a great way to set up.
And I'm going to bring a sheet now that you're just reminding me.
Yes.
A sheet to hang over part of the pen, just so we have a visual block too, because this is a really busy campground. They're going to be exhausted just by
all
watching
of
everything.
So when you say exhausted, let's think about some stuff that we could do that would help sort of enrichment and kind of just mental stimulation, that they don't have to always be worried about what's going on around them. What are you thinking about there?
I mean, bringing bones and kongs, which I never do camping, but that's a really good idea. Because if they're in the pen, then I don't have to worry about the other dogs coming and getting them. And giving them a chance to do some sniffing, getting them out early when everybody else is asleep,
Yeah.
Do some sniff walks.
So it's always nice in a campground, first thing, if you get up super early in the morning, there's hardly anybody else up, and you're just kind of hearing sounds and maybe
Yeah.
people moving around in their sleeping bags, and just getting out there and just letting your dog explore. We talked about sniffing before.
Yeah.
That's awesome. They're picking up all the information about the campground, plus all those other dogs that might be in the campground as well.
Yeah.
Without them there.
Getting some exercise then too.
I always think too about when you're passing, and this happens all the time when we're camping, is you pass someplace you don't realize there's a dog there, and the dog comes out barking,
Yeah.
and you're like, whoa!
That's my dog.
And that has been some of my previous dogs. So kind of watching where you're walking around too, just to see if there is any other dogs. So let's talk about a little bit, like if you're camping with a dog that's totally comfortable with camping.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk about just that experience and supplies and what we might bring. You're going to be bringing that with you for the weekend as well. So I think we pack more for our dog than we do for ourselves when we're
Yeah.
going
Well,
camping.
we want to be ready.
We want to be ready for everything. So the first thing I would think about bringing are tags and bags, making sure our dogs have their ID tags on with their name and number in case for any chance that they got away. And also poop bags. We always want to make sure that we're cleaning up after our dogs. I always bring a first aid kit, just in case. I'll always bring a nail clippers just in case, because you're out
Yeah.
and about, you might get a nail that gets caught in
Snag.
something. So I always bring a nail clippers. Obviously enough food, and I always bring a little bit of extra food. You never know if you're going to get stuck somewhere.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so that's always good. Water bowls, water if you need it. A bed, something
Yep.
that they have their own smell on that they like.
And I always bring the raised bed because
Yes.
when the ground is wet in the morning, they don't. My littles don't like that. They want to be
So a nice
cozy.
bit of comfort
Yeah.
as well. And anything else that you think
Yeah,
you bring?
well, I just this week realized that I'm 2 months off of the flea and tick.
Oh, that's
And
good.
yeah, and
Yes, yes.
and then I had the heartworm because there's going to be mosquitoes where we're going.
Yes.
So thinking about and making sure you have enough of the meds in case.
Yeah, that they're up to date on when you give it to them and stuff like that. That's super important.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of ticks still going on in this area during the summer. Leashes.
Yep.
I'll always bring a long line too that I
Yeah.
may be able to attach outside
Yeah,
to the
because we're going to
trailer.
be hanging at the river most of the day.
Yes.
And so I was imagining that would be nice to have the long line.
So they could go
move
into the
around a little bit.
water
Yeah.
if they wanted to. That's super.
So that this is feeling a lot better. Like
It
I
is.
think, now that I have a picture,
Yeah.
the last camp out I brought them to, they spent a lot of time just barking on their leashes by the table, and I didn't manage them well, and I didn't bring them any enrichment.
Yes.
And going into this trip, thinking about how to set them up for success feels really good.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that'll help you relax as well.
Yeah, and maybe a beer.
Yeah, and it's always and a beer. Yes, that'll help you relax as well. And that's what it's all about: out camping with your family, with friends, just
Yeah.
having some fun.
Where are you going this weekend?
This weekend we're actually going out towards the ocean. We're going to go to Bodega Bay, and our girl loves it, and so she enjoys it. We light a fire in the evenings, and she loves to sit out by the fire.
Uh-huh.
Our previous dogs, one of them hated the smoke. It was just like, just put me back in the trailer. I don't want to be out while the fire is on. And that's important too, that if you can have times where they have quiet time, I think we find it so important that they get their sleep
Yeah.
during the day. And that's not only at home, but when you're out, that's
Yeah.
even more, because there's so much going on for them anyway, that if we can get that time where we can get them just to take a little nap, I think that's important as well.
Yeah. Will she nap in the trailer?
She will.
Oh, nice.
So one of the things too to think about is the heat of the day.
Uh-huh.
That's a hard thing if you're in a hot place and you want to go for a walk and leave your dog behind. It's not really possible.
No.
Unless you've got some hookups and you've got air conditioning and all the great stuff. But if you're out in a national park or whatever like that, you're not going to have any air conditioning in your trailer or in your tent.
Yeah.
You're not going to have anything anyway. So we normally will wait till the end of the day or go out in early morning where we can leave her in the trailer. But when you're in a tent, it's not really an option to
No.
leave your dog in a tent. your dog is with you for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no time apart unless it's a really cool day and maybe you go for a drive someplace and you can leave them and they're comfortable in the car. But here in the summer, there's no way you'd want to leave a dog in the car
No.
for any amount of time at all.
No.
So when they're out for camping, you're out all together.
Yeah, and you're
for
right,
most
they
of the
get
time.
tired. I mean, my dogs, I thought the last camping trip that was going to be a problem, but we just found a spot in the shade, and I brought my chair, and they were so happy to just,
Chill.
yeah, take a snooze.
Yes, and you read a book, or
Yeah.
you take a snooze, or
Yeah.
you drink a beer, right?
Flex.
So that's a little bit about camping, just in general, and then I'm just going to talk a little bit about national parks.
Yeah.
Right, because that's something that we love to do, and there might be somebody out there that likes to do that. And all national parks have different rules about where your dogs can be there and how much the area is that you can walk in. It's always on leash.
Yeah.
And we always want to respect that because we want to be able to keep
Right.
taking our dogs to these wonderful places with us camping. You know, it's mostly paved areas, and you usually can't bring them on trails.
Yeah.
And some parks there's very small areas. You can go in the campground, you can go in a paved path. Some areas have very small paved paths. Yosemite is kind of special like that because they have a lot of the valley floor that's paved that you can bring your dog on, which is awesome. And then some parks have much smaller.
Yeah, and check that
areas.
out before you go.
Really check
Because
that out and
yeah.
just know because you could be at one place that says you can walk within this campground and no place else.
Yep.
And if your plan is to go hiking and explore, then you're very limited on
Yeah.
what you're going to be able to do.
And
with
if it's
your
one of these horrible places with plovers, and they don't let you on the beach.
So
'cause
you're
the
going to have
stinking
to say my
plovers.
name is
My name is Kirsten, and I don't like birds. But yeah, so keep up to date because I know there's beaches around here where sometimes I can bring my dog,
Yes.
state beaches,
Yes.
and sometimes I can't because if the plovers are nesting.
Yes. And we do love the birds
Some of
and
us.
natures. It's just that some of the birds don't like Kirsten.
They don't,
Sorry.
and then I can't take my dog to that beach. But yeah, and we've done that before where we've like booked in Santa Cruz,
Yes.
Sunset State Beach. Dogs can come to the campground. Oh yay! And then we get out of the campground 2 feet. We're on the beach. No dogs allowed.
No dogs allowed.
And that was not a
they're-
fun trip.
Because they're protecting the
I'm sure the
wildlife.
plovers again.
Which we want to say, we do want to protect the wildlife. That's very important
Yes,
to us as well.
absolutely. Some of the wildlife.
So,
Wait, can I tell a little sneaky story?
absolutely.
And I'm not saying that people should do this, but it worked out well for us. we were camping at, I want to say it was Humboldt State Park. It was one of the big redwood places up in Northern California. No dogs allowed on the trail. And I mean, that was an intense one. Like, I think dogs weren't even allowed on the fire roads. It was really controlled. And I was young and didn't plan ahead. And we had a pug who I kept in. We actually had a dog backpack for him that was phenomenal. So we went all over that park with our pug in the backpack, and he just slept in there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
Good,
I'm
good.
not saying that anyone should do that. I would never do that again. Break the
Yeah,
rules.
I'm not sure. I'm looking at you now and I'm going, I've just said, don't do that. Don't do that. So
But he wasn't
he wasn't touching the
He
ground.
wasn't touching the ground.
Yeah.
So-
He was in the backpack. So we're not condoning
No,
it.
that's the word I was
We're
looking
just
for, yeah.
saying you were young and that's what you
I'm
did.
just sharing one of my misdeeds.
You're like, again, saying we are not perfect.
That's right.
right?
That's right.
Which is really what this podcast is about, to have
Yeah.
some fun.
Boy, did that dog love camping. Bear, the pug.
Yes.
Oh, we camped with him all over California and Oregon. And I have to hold that memory in my mind as I go out going forward this weekend. Yeah.
Exactly, because once my shy dog that I've talked about, the reason why we got the trailer, he would find some places we camped might be a little hard for him, if they were more city environment around him, a little bit more stuff going on. But
Yeah.
Yosemite he loved.
Yeah.
He was like in his body, just loving life. And just a little bit about Yosemite and him, a funny little story that I want to tell is Yosemite does have bears. And we were out on a trail at one stage with both of them. Now, both of these previous dogs I
Who's
had,
the other one?
Chance and Dusty.
Dusty.
And Dusty's the reason why I started training in the beginning. So both of them reactive to other dogs, but we were working on it, to look at that, look at us, and all the good stuff. We had been working on that for a while, and a bear ran out in front of us, and on a walking path, and my immediate instinct was to say, Look at me! Don't look at the bear. Look back at me. So I went into my whole routine of what I would do training wise, and I was like, "Why am I doing that?" So you just keep barking at that bear to tell him to go away. And it was funny, the night before, my husband had asked me, if a bear came out, who would you save if you had to? Would it be me or the dogs? And I had to take a moment.
Oh, I'm surprised there was even a moment.
He knows what the moment.
My partner wouldn't ask me that. Rod would know.
Yes. So there's other things that are out there, and the reason why you keep your dogs on leash at Yosemite is for several different reasons. But the last thing I would have wanted was my dog to run after a bear. Yeah. While we're out there.
Even raccoons. I mean, that's a really good point.
Yeah, there's stuff out there.
We are guests in nature.
We are guests in nature. Yeah. And I'm glad you said that after you said you didn't like the plovers.
I still don't like the plovers because they're in my nature.
We are guests in nature, and that's the wonderful thing about camping.
Yeah.
Is you're out there with us.
And our dogs get to be dogs, right?
Yes.
So here we are a week later. Em and I both had successful camping trips last weekend, and we just thought we would share a little bit about what went well and what we wish we would do differently next time, and we're just excited to talk about our camping trips with each other, so we thought we'd set up another podcast meeting.
Yeah. So how did it go for you?
It was fantastic, and I think that happens sometimes when you're doing the worst case scenario. Uh-huh. And I had so many things I was dreading and worried about. I ended up bringing a completely different dog. And she was just in the sling most of the trip and fine, and it was easy. And I left the trickier dogs at home. It was fantastic. My first trip ever not ever, in 21 years, with no kids and just a dog. And I could get used to that.
Yeah.
I hope my kids don't listen to this.
Explain to people what a sling is.
Okay.
So they know.
So the dog that I brought is a Chihuahua Rat Terrier. And a sling is like literally a baby sling, but it's made for dogs, so it fits her really well. Because she was exhausted and she just couldn't sleep and wherever she was because there were other dogs and kids and people. And I put her in the sling, and she fell right asleep. And so unless we were in the water, she was just in the sling with me, so happy.
That's great. So she's been the whole time with you, so you didn't have to worry about management.
Yeah.
And what a smart idea. You just changed dogs.
Just changed dogs.
This is the dog that can do this.
Yeah. And I think she loved it. I think it was, there were times where she was like out of her element and almost probably in shock because there was so much going on, but she handled. And she built a little grit.
Good.
And I'll definitely do that again where I bring her.
And so supplies, what did you bring? Was there anything you forgot to bring?
Yes. Okay. Well, first of all, I forgot water. So I had to drink the camp water, which I was being like a Marin woman about. But but she wasn't drinking much water, and it was really, really hot. And I wish I'd thought to make like chicken broth ice cubes and pack those, or, bring broth or something to add to the water. Because I kept worrying about her getting dehydrated.
Yes.
And the other thing, I saw a camp dog bed while I was there, and I really want it. You know how they have like camp chairs that fold up and go in a bag?
Yes.
Sort of like an umbrella. So these people pulled out a camp dog bed that was raised, so it wasn't on the sand, not hot, with a canopy.
Oh, perfect.
And for the shade, because we really could have used a little bit more shade.
Now, did she go into the water?
She did, only because she was floating on my lap. I was in an inner tube, and a couple times she just had enough and jumped off of me and swam me back to shore. So this 9-pounder pulled me back to shore. She's a great swimmer. She didn't go in the water on her own volition. She would go stand in like paw deep.
Yes.
But she wanted to be with me, but then for only I think she was getting really hot.
Yes, so she wanted to go back. Yeah. And what about other dogs? Did you come across any other dogs in the campground?
It's almost like there was some kind of dog evaluator at the gate that didn't let any inappropriate dogs in. I have never been with that many well-behaved dogs. It was extraordinary. And I was thinking about it later, and a shout out to Cassini Ranch Campground, because they set it up so well. Like they really want you to bring your dog. There were 2 dog parks, one for just solo dog, and then the other was an agility course you could use. And they have their own dog. It's like that's the mascot of their
Yes.
little label, and he's driving around. And they do a really polite way of reinforcing leash laws, or enforcing the leash law. So all dogs are on leash, and I think some people then don't bring a dog that's like crazy got to be off leash because it's got to be on leash.
On
And so
leash.
for me, that was so nice.
And when you say they politely reinforce, what does that look like? Because that's always good for some of us that might want to tell somebody, could you put your dog on leash?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're just driving around in their little golf carts and looking for that, and they just would say, "Reminder: no loose dogs." And they have signs all over, "No loose dogs."
Great.
And then they just would wait. And there's like a huge staff doing that.
That's
So
wonderful.
I think I saw one loose dog just in a campsite,
Mm-hmm.
but otherwise it felt really safe for Neve, and for her to be able to be around that many dogs and feel safe was
And
really
that's
wonderful.
great.
Yeah.
So you can't see through the podcast here, but you have a big smile
I
on your
do,
face when you're
yeah.
talking about it. You look like you really enjoyed it.
It was, I kept saying, this is the best day of my life. And then I thought, there's been some other good days, but in the moment it was fantastic.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great news.
How about you? How did it go?
We had a good weekend. Pretty much non-eventful. She lounged outside the trailer for a while. On one of the mornings, we decided to go kayaking. So we got up early in the morning. It was very foggy, so very cool. And we took her for a nice walk before we headed out. And then she just rested for a few hours while we were out kayaking. And then we came back and did some fun stuff with her. And so it was just lounging around inside the trailer, outside the trailer. And pretty much we had all our stuff. There wasn't anything, I don't think we forgot anything this time.
And I brought a bone. You gave me the idea, and I don't know why I've never done that. Because there was some time, like when I was cooking dinner, I
Yes.
had her in the tent with 2 exercise pens around it, which worked out beautifully.
Perfect.
With a bone. And
And
she
she
was
was as
so
happy as could
happy
be.
just chomping on that bone.
Yeah, we brought a bully stick too, and she did like that. She sat outside chewing that for a while. Kind of just took her mind off of anything else that might be happening.
Yeah.
And we walked around the campground. The dogs were fine actually in our campground. One little dog came out from nowhere, and we were like, okay, this dog I think has escaped from an X-pen. So we kind of walked back towards their trailer. Luckily enough, Kiva, she's good with dogs. And the person came out then and was like, I was wondering where our dog had gone, and she's deaf, and so
Aw.
so they picked her up and brought her back. But everybody else, all the dogs seemed fine in the park, and I think she might have met one or two as well when we were walking around. So that's always nice sometimes if dogs get along with each other, that they get to say hi to each other, and then
Yeah.
you say hi to the people like you do in the campgrounds. You get to know everybody.
Yeah.
And we had some lovely neighbors that wanted to say hi to her, and she was fine with that. So yeah, it was a good weekend.
My takeaway from this trip is that there was so much enrichment for both me and my dog. We talked in the other podcast about giving our dogs the mental stimulation, the physical exercise, the companionship, and that seeking, exploring. Neve had all of that. And I pushed her a little bit out of her comfort zone, and I pushed myself out of my comfort zone, and we both really grew. So shout out to anybody who's going to take their dog with them on a camping trip. And Emma and I both learned if you're prepared and you think through things a little bit, it makes the trip so much more relaxing. Thanks for tuning in today, and hope you'll join us for our next episode. You can reach Emma at
ecdogtraining.com or on Instagram at ecdog_training, and Kirsten at
kwhappydogs.com or on Facebook at kwhappydogs. Don't forget to hit subscribe. See you next time.